Okay, Kimberly, I wanted to share with you that when Stephen and I were traveling in East Africa, we visited the Anglican Cathedral in Nairobi, Kenya, where some of the books that are featured in their library were being displayed at the entrance, and they were for sale. And among the books was the Africa Bible Commentary. And so, in light of what's happening in Uganda with the Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009, and we've been asking our friends to write letters to bring awareness to evangelicals and political leaders, but evangelicals mostly. We're so glad that you have written a letter and that you're going to share it with us today.
Thank you, Jose, and thank you for all the work that you do. My letter is addressed to Rick Warren, John Stott, and Douglas Carew. They are world evangelical leaders who have supported this book and have actually endorsed this book, as well as to the Association of Evangelicals in Africa, asking them all to denounce the Ugandan Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009. Here is my letter. I am writing to you because I am greatly distressed about the proposed legislation in Uganda, which, if passed, could lead to the systematic elimination of a certain segment of society. Already, citizens have left Uganda out of fear for their safety. I'm writing about the Ugandan Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009 that would, by use of the death penalty and imprisonment, effectively purge Uganda of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgendered people, and any who would speak out on their behalf. I am concerned that the evangelicals in Africa may be turning a deaf ear towards the Parliament of Uganda at this time. In 2006, the Association of Evangelicals in Africa, the AEA, published the African Bible Commentary. This commentary features Nigerian religious leader Yusufu Taraki's hateful and intolerant article entitled Homosexuality. My question to you as leaders in the evangelical world is this. Does it follow, in view of Taraki's article, that the Association of Evangelicals in Africa endorses the Ugandan Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009? Taraki's article contains the following anti-homosexual remarks. Taraki's use of the words abnormal, unnatural, and a perversion in reference to homosexuals. 2, his uncritical use of the quote that homosexuals are worse than beasts. Tied in with 3, his uncritical statement of the African Anglican Church's rejection of Archbishop Tutu's call for tolerance, as well as 4, his one-sided account of African coercive sexual relationships, as his examples of varied African same-sex sex. 5, an uncritical censorship of all views of homosexuality that are not in keeping with his views. He says, quote, "Our views of homosexuality should not be derived from human resources, but from the Word of God." And 6, his expressed theological view that to be homosexual is sinful, a view which is not held by most evangelicals in the West. Taraki's article effectively dismisses the Church from its responsibility to speak out against the violence in Africa against LGBT people. His article could be used by African evangelicals at this time as an argument for the endorsement of this Ugandan bill. The Ugandan Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009 would criminalize anyone who aids, abets, counsels, or procures another to engage in acts of homosexuality, as well as anyone who engages in the promotion of homosexuality, including broadcasting, publishing, the marketing of materials on homosexuality, and the funding and sponsoring of LGBT organizations. In addition, an authority must, under this legislation, turn in his colleagues, family, or friends who engage in the promotion of homosexuality, or face criminal charges for failing to do so. It is conceivable, for example, that any pastor who would teach, or even dialogue open-mindedly, that the Bible does not condemn same-sex loving relationships between consenting adults would be guilty of promoting homosexuality and therefore a criminal. A Bible scholar in Uganda would not be at liberty to openly question what the Bible does or does not say about homosexuality. Any person of authority who would fail to report such a scholar or open-minded pastor within 24 hours would be subject to a significant fine and up to 3 years in prison. Anybody who keeps a house or room for the purposes of homosexuality, whatever that means, is subject to imprisonment. No one's private dwelling place is safe. The Anti-Homosexuality Bill directly violates many of the basic human rights guaranteed in the Ugandan Constitution. It also violates the African Charter on Human and People Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and other international human rights treaties to which Uganda is a party. The bill effectively creates a climate of fear and hostility. It will lend itself to misapplication and abuse, and implicitly encourages persecution of LGBT people by private actors. Effective HIV prevention activities in Uganda, which rely on an ability to talk frankly about sexuality and provide condoms and other safe-sex materials, will be difficult, if not impossible. I am aware that for the most part, evangelicals worldwide view same-sex sex between consenting adults as immoral. Nonetheless, I cannot believe that evangelicals can stand silently by and watch the Parliament of Uganda vote this inhumane bill into law, especially since evangelicals are so vehemently vocal on the issue of homosexuality. Therefore, I am asking you to demonstrate that Yusufu Turaki's inflexible and dogmatic article on homosexuality is not to be misused by evangelicals in Africa as an argument for the endorsement of the inhumane Ugandan Anti Homosexuality Bill of 2009 by your swift denouncement of this bill. If you do not denounce this bill, then your silence will serve as a passive agreement that a Christian country could and even should imprison for life or sentence to death persons who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered. Rick Warren, John Stott, Douglas Carew, and the AEA, I urge you to openly denounce this bill. Signed, Kimberly Salahodil.